So in Unit 2, our goal is to look at a few different tools to help us out with mathematical statistics. And each one of these tools will be tools from probability theory. And this first tool is just about simplifying certain integrals using some tools of probability theory. So at first it might look like this is really just a straightforward calculus problem. But you might try some different calculus techniques and realize that they're not going to be so helpful. So I don't think a U substitution would be helpful in this case, nor do I think integration by parts would be helpful, or any of the other real standard tools from, say, Calculus 2. But it turns out that we can use probability theory to help us out here. And really what I mean by that is when you take a look at this, you can note that this integral looks a little bit like the CDF of a normal distribution. And to be a little bit more clear about that, we can note that if you looked at the integral from negative infinity to 0 of 1 over 2 times the square root of 2 pi times e to the negative x squared over, I'll write this as 2 times 2 squared, right? That'll give us 8 in the denominator. This integral is just the integral of, basically, it's just the CDF of a random variable where that random variable x is normally distributed with mean 0 and standard deviation 2 or variance 4. And the reason why it's mean 0 is because usually there would be an x, so like in this spot here, if it were some other mean, it would be x minus mu, whatever the mean is, squared. And so here it's just minus 0, so it's a mean 0 normal random variable. And we know nice properties of PDFs. So for the normal distribution, we know that, for example, I'll draw a picture. If we have a normal distribution, the center, right, this will be the mean here. And so if the mean is 0, and we are integrating under this PDF from negative infinity to 0, then we should know that we have half of the area below. So we know that the integral that I just wrote down, which I'm representing pictorially here, would be just 0.5. It's 1/2. And notice that this piece here is the same as this piece here. So it looks like all we have to do is move around a constant, and we could get the solution to the integral that we were asked about. So this tells us that the integral from negative infinity to 0 of e to the negative x squared over 8 will just be 0.5 times 2 times the square root of 2 pi, right? So we're just taking this constant and multiplying our equation on both sides, and we get the original integral that we want, and we have an answer here, right? We can simplify a little bit, of course. We have a 1/2 times 2, so that goes away, and we're just left with 2 pi. So that's really helpful. It tells us that instead of doing all of the complicated calculus stuff that won't even help in this case, we can compute some integrals by just trying to make them look like PDFs, and then if we know how to integrate that PDF based on some probability theory, then we can get the answer to the integral that we care about. So I can give some more practice problems, we'll have a homework problem like this. But if we need more practice, please feel free to speak up during lecture, and we can look at another problem or two.